Joining me now from the home office in suburban Toronto is the one and only Sam Cosentino. Sammy, have you ever rocked a mullet?
Oh, without question. And the way it's going, like looking on Instagram yesterday, like Hillary working on my hair there, and I'm thinking very strongly about rocking it again real soon.
Oh, are you? I mean, you got the handlebar mustache. You add a mullet to that, my friend, and you are the ultimate hockey analyst.
Yeah, look at the hair, look at the stash. Don't listen to the crap I'm spewing.
Right. I wish I could. I wish I could grow the mullet. All I got is the skullet. All right, so Sammy boy, are you tired of talking about the Canucks and what they need to do? Because it feels like Murphy was kind of sort of done talking about the Canucks. It seemed like the Canucks were kind of sort of done talking about the Canucks. Even Patrick Allvin yesterday, who hasn't shown up a lot, felt like he was tired when talking about the Canucks.
I'm not tired. I'm talking about Connor Bedard and the Canucks. I can never get tired of that when it comes to the draft. And that's, listen, the longer this thing goes, it's going to have to start to be the conversation. Unprecedented things when Craig Berube took over St. Louis back in 2018 to go on and win the Cup. But that's the kind of hole that the Vancouver Canucks have dug themselves already. And with all the injuries they have, yeah, they might win a game tonight. They might win their next one. But really, over the course of the next 2 to 3 weeks, how much better do you really see this thing getting? And at the start of the year, I was bullish on Vancouver. I liked Demko in goal. I liked to get a start and Hughes on defense. Pettersson looked like he got it turned around last year. So you have those three pillars, one at each position, to help carry them forward. And then you get Miller signed after the year he had, Besser signed long-term. You got to think that those guys are feeling comfortable. Yeah, was the back end maybe a little bit deficient, but that's something I think Jim Rutherford could go out and address during the course of the year. But the way that this start has happened, I think we're very close at turning that talk around to getting into the Connor Bedard sweepstakes.
Well, the first time I heard people talking about rebuild and I heard the name Connor Bedard, I called Sam Cosentino, our NHL draft insider. Like, it's not just Bedard, is it? Like, if in the end any of the Canadian teams or anyone watching a fan of their team, if they end up in the top half of this draft, it seems like there's a few names here, isn't there?
Yeah, it's awesome. It really sets up to be an unbelievable draft. And I know scouts have been touting this probably for the last couple of years. I mean, for the most part, coming out of COVID, although some of these players would have been affected by it, some of them on the positive front, to be able to heal up a little bit, to be able to train in ways that they haven't trained before by doing it alone or doing it through video. And so some of them, I believe, have benefited from that time off. But when it comes to this draft, I'm looking at Connor Bedard. Matvei Michkov is an interesting character. Obviously, the geopolitical issues are going to play a part in that. Also his contract, which is another 3 years at SKA St. Petersburg, which is, that's a difficult thing to have to operate around. But put Michkov aside, and then we get into Adam Fantilli, Toronto-born kid playing at the University of Michigan, on fire to start his freshman season. Then you look at Leo Carlsson, and this is a really sneaky guy for me. This Leo Carlsson, who plays in Sweden at about a point per game playing in the SHL, 6'3", 190 pounds, moves like the wind, has a nice blend of being able to pass and shoot the puck. So there's 4 guys. So if you're thinking about who's in the running, is it going to be Chicago? Is it going to be Arizona, Anaheim? Is it going to be Vancouver? You're sitting pretty comfortably that if you're in the race for Bedard, which is about a 20% chance, the fallback situation is really good. And so after those 4 guys, I think there is a slight tier drop. And now you get into the Braden Yagers of the world, the Zach Bensons of the world, who are really super skilled guys, and who I believe definitely deserve to be in that top 10. So there is a fallback position should it not be Connor Bedard.
Right.
And we haven't really seen that fallback position present itself in drafts the last couple of years.
Right. So if it is indeed a tunnel in Vancouver, there is some light at the end of the tunnel with how deep this draft is. At the top especially. All right, so let's shift our focus. Last night, the Oilers on Scotiabank, Wednesday night hockey, again tonight in Chicago. I said at the top of the show, Sammy, that I thought that this was a game that the Oilers in the past, decade lose. Like, the way that St. Louis plays and played last night was just waiting for the Oilers to make a mistake that they never made.
Yeah, and you know what, though? I thought the Oilers were awesome. For the first 15 minutes of that game, they were getting great breakouts. They were winning all the puck battles, yet they only had 1 goal. And you could see on that one power play, I think it ended up resulting in Draisaitl playing a 4-minute and 53-second shift at the end of the power play because he couldn't get off. And Jay Woodcroft knew that, hey, this is going to be a slugfest. We're going to try and get that 2-goal lead to feel a little bit more comfortable. When that didn't happen and St. Louis scored at the end of the period, Jammer looks at me, Stuart, you're looking at me like, guys, that's not a good sign. I'm really anxious to see how the Edmonton Oilers are going to respond here. And their response was awesome. And Jammer talked about it a lot in the postgame. He's like, they were patient. They stuck to the plan.
Yeah.
They didn't play frustrated. They caught a bit of a break with the Yamamoto non-call that ended up going back the other way and ended up being the deciding goal. But good on the Oilers for being able to show that resiliency in a game that probably you and I and a lot of people thought that last year, dumbing it down by St. Louis, low event game, low scoring game, is it going to be that kind of grind? They did a great job sticking with the plan. I thought that was a real statement win for the Edmonton Oilers last night.
All right, let's fire through some of the other Canadian teams while we got some time. Leafs in San Jose tonight. Much consternation about the Leafs scoring. Listen, if they're not going to be a great defensive team, they can't be in the lower third in the NHL in scoring, and that's exactly where they are right now. Do you like the shuffling of the lines, or does it kind of sort of seem like a little desperation early?
Nah, for me, it's just a matter of getting the big guy going. I think the whole offense keys off what Austin Matthews is able to do. And it's only a matter of time because when he scores once, he'll probably score 12 times in the next 15 games or 12 times in the next 10 games. And that will really set the tone for the rest of the offense. One thing that I think is a little bit different this year, if you look at a team that led the league in faceoffs last year at about 58, 59%, that number is down to 52%. And while that might not seem like a drastic number, that puts them in the middle of the pack and means you're starting with the puck less often. And for a team that plays that puck possession style of game, that's a highly important element to their game. And so that's something that could show improvement when that comes along, the big guy starts to get going. This is not a team I'm worried about until the middle of April, to be perfectly honest with you. I think they are that good.
I got you, Chad. All right, so the Senators, they're trying to prove that they're that good. Big loss with Josh Norris, but looking for a 5th straight win tonight with Cam Talbot inching closer to a return. What's the overall outlook for you in Ottawa after 4 wins in a row and then the Norris news?
Yeah, the Norris news sucks. It always seems like just when this team starts to get on track, something like that happens. Now, having said that, the emergence of Shane Pinto can't be understated here. This guy is awesome, and what a great pick. Trent Mann and the staff of the Ottawa Senators made a great pick there, which I think was in the second round of the draft. He was injured. We didn't get to know him well. He's a beast. This guy is a sleeper Calder Trophy winner. I love what he brings to the table, so he should help mitigate some of the loss of Norris. Having said that, you get Talbot back in, you get the 1-2 goalie combination that they were thinking of at the start of the year, and I like their depth. I also like some of the veteran presence they've added. This is kind of the team that DJ Smith has been looking for since he took that job.
The Buffalo Sabres are hosting the Montreal Canadiens tonight. I've been watching them go through Western Canada, and I can't help but think that Buffalo might be ready to take a big step here.
I agree, and that was the team that I picked that I thought might be underrated at the start of the year when we did our poll. And when I'm looking at their team, I think they have size, they play with speed, they get to pucks first. What I really appreciate most about this group is the synergy they seem to have with their coaching staff. Then you add a guy like Anderson who comes back in goal. I think he's accepted that mentorship role. Eric Comrie, really underrated guy, attention to detail. This guy's got his eye on the prize. Perfect guy to be in that tandem with Anderson. And I look at their D, pretty good. Dahlin, Power, Samuelson, although he's out for a bit. I like what's going on there, and I give Kevin Adams a lot of credit for the things he's done. He stuck his nose out in the line. The Eichel deal, he gets it done. Samuelson, he gets criticized for. I love what Kevin Adams has done here. Don't sleep on the Swords.
All right, one more for you, and I don't know if there was more pressure on any single player group than there was on the Winnipeg Jets going into the year. A lot of the future of this team depended on what they did. And listen, it's been a little bit of a different start given what's happened with Rick Bowness. But what do you make of the Jets so far as they go into LA to face the Kings?
Just okay. Yeah. I want to see Bowness behind the bench and really start to have an impact in his ability to manage a game. And that's to take nothing away from Scott Arniel, but you just don't want that distraction. They're a good hockey club. Their top 6 should be as good as just about anyone in the league. They really are when they're all healthy. The back end, I like, Hellebuck, if he can return to that form which he saw 5 or 6 years ago or 3 or 4 years ago, then I think they got a real shot. But this is a team that needs to kind of find its way, find some win streaks. I always find with this hockey club, they might win 2 and everyone gets excited, might win 3 out of 5, everyone's excited. They need to go on a run, like 6, 7 games, win 7 out of 9. Some sort of serious run that gets the confidence of the group, the fan base, and people like me talking about them a lot more, because I do believe they have the ability to do it.
Not many dudes that I can roll through the entire NHL with like that. Thanks a lot, Sammy. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Tim. Good to see you.
There is
Skull it,
Sam
babies.
Cosentino from, oh, did we cut him off?